Knife sharpening is not rocket science. Mankind has been sharpening knives since before the advent of fire. You can handle it. Here's a few rules to follow when you're getting ready to sharpen your knives. Number one, you cannot buy your way out of sharpening your knives. Even the most expensive, high-quality knives still need to be maintained. Keep your knife sharp. Maintaining a sharp knife's edge is much easier than trying to restore a butter knife dull knife. Practice makes perfect. The more you try, the better you'll get at it. Don't worry that you're going to permanently damage your knife by trying to sharpen it. Last and most importantly, it's all about angle. Maintaining a consistent angle throughout the sharpening process is the single most important thing to do when you're sharpening. Okay, let's talk about my favorite tool to use for sharpening and keeping my knives shaving sharp at home. I use this. It's called a diamond steel. This is the brand that we sell at newwestknifeworks.com. It looks very much like a traditional metal steel or hone that comes with most knife sets, but it's a very different tool. This is made of metal and is used to polish or align the edge of the knife. A diamond steel has microscopic diamonds on the surface. And when you do that same honing motion that you do with a regular steel, you're taking metal away or sharpening the knife. Here's a good measure. If I take the chef knife, put no weight on it, and just pass it back and forth on the skin, it should slide right through if it's sharp. Look what it's doing here, it's not doing it. But we want a knife that's razor sharp and will pass through the food with no effort. To sharpen this, we're going to use a DMT 12-inch fine grit diamond steel. First, quick thing on diamond steels, you want to use medium to light pressure. If you use heavy pressure, you'll rub the diamonds off the steel and ruin it, basically. So first, how do you hold the diamond steel? There's lots of different techniques that you can use. This is a kind of a classic culinary school style to hold it like this, straight up and down, I see fairly commonly as well. At home, I actually either rest it on the cutting board like this, or a real popular technique is to go down against the edge in this direction, and then getting the other side on the other side of the steel. Or just hold it up in the air, and this is really, once you've had a lot of practice, probably what you'll do and what I see a lot of chefs do. Next, and most important thing in sharpening is using the proper angle. So what you want is an angle between 15 and 20 degrees. Start like this is 90 degrees, take half of that, that's 45 degrees, half again is 22.5 degrees, and then just a little bit more is going to get you 15 to 20. Maintaining that consistent angle all the way through the sharpening process is the most important thing to do when you're sharpening using either a diamond steel or a stone. Angle control is really the only thing that matters. One little trick to know if you're doing it right or not: if your knife has a bunch of scratches along the side of the blade here, that means you're not controlling the angle of your knife and you're hitting the knife flat somewhere in the process. So let's talk about what you're going to do here. I'm going down and across the edge using the whole length of the steel. That's the most efficient use of the steel and will sharpen it the fastest. When I'm sharpening, I do equal amounts of strokes on both sides of the knife. I will start with doing 10 strokes on one side and then 10 going the other direction. Notice that I'm going nice and slow here. You watch the folks on TV, they're going a million miles an hour. Till you really feel like you're an expert, go nice and slow. Then I'll do 5. Then I'm going to do 3 on each side, then 2 and 1. On those last 3, 2, 1, I'm going to use lighter pressure. Nice and light on the last one. And you are going to want to wipe your edge either with a cloth or wash it off, because you are going to have a little bit of metal filings on there. Let's see what we got. So now you can see it really just wants to fall right through that skin of that tomato. If it isn't sharp enough, just repeat the process over again. If it's really dull, start with 20 on the side. 20, 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. All right, now I'm going to show you a little bit more advanced sharpening technique. This is something you can do to be faster, and also a technique you can use on even more dull knives. I'm still going to try to do even amount of sharpening on both sides, but instead of just going down the side, I'm just going to scrape this back and forth. Most importantly, concentrating on controlling the angle. So while I'm doing this, I'm counting. Then I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. And I'll do 10. And maybe 5. I am moving a lot of metal here, so this is for a really dull knife. And that should, oh yeah, see that? I mean, that really made it sharp there. All right, let's talk about how to sharpen your serrated knives. The most important thing on all serrated knives is you can see that it's ground on one side and then not ground on the other. To sharpen a serrated knife, I'm going to hone it pretending that the serration isn't even there, drawing it down the length of the blade just like it's a normal knife. Especially with this wide serration on the super bred, you see the steel is just going to follow down the grooves and grind the entire blade. The technique that I use for this, again, we're still using a 15 to 20 degree angle. I usually do 20 on the ground side, medium pressure, and then I'm going to do 3 or 4 just off of flat on the non-ground side. If you go totally flat to the edge of the blade, you will scratch the knife. So just take it a little bit off of flat. You're going down here 3 or 4 times just to take what we call the burr off of the edge. And let's see how it cuts. All right, let's look at it on a couple other serrated knives too. So we're going to use the same technique that we did with the other knife. We're going to do 20 strokes, pretending the serration isn't even there. 15 to 20 degree angle. And you can see as we go slow, it's getting all of that, everything but the very deepest part of the serration. And then 3 or 4 on the other side just to take the burr off. You're going to use the same technique with the steak knife. And you can see, especially on the steak knife, you see there's a flat edge section and a serrated section. You're still going to sharpen it all the same way. So I'm on the ground side. I'm going to do 20 strokes. Pretend the serration isn't even there. And then 3 or 4 just to take the burr off. Or whether it's your serrated knives, your straight edge knives, as soon as they won't cleanly slice a tomato, that's the time to sharpen them. So use these techniques I've shown you in a good quality diamond steel, and all your knives will be sharp all the time. Remember, keep them sharp.